All right. Welcome to another week of Ghost in the Scene, the only ghost friendly podcast out there, certified audio sage with your host, Gio, and my co host, Rob. How's it going, Rob?
Joe, I am feeling the love this week. This is the week for love, about love, for lovers. So if you have a lover, love your lover. If you don't, love yourself, because that's your first lover right there. That's the first love that you get is yourself. So love yourself. Um, but I'm feeling so much love that it's almost too much, almost like it's like there's a spell being cast upon me. So I'm also trying to, be careful and keep my eyes on the scene.
Yeah, suffering from too much love is definitely a symptom of the month of February, guys. Like I said last week, we are in a very emotionally and paranormally charged month. It is short for that reason. And we are coming up on the holiday that is the most charged in the emotion of love. And also, I'll say even more so, the emotion of desire, of lust, right? We're talking about Cupid and, of course, the Valentine's Day, the 14th that's coming up this week. So I got a bone to pick with Cupid, okay? Because people don't believe in the paranormal. It's people constantly laugh at us, they make fun of us, and yet they accept Santa and they accept the Easter Bunny and they accept Cupid as if they're the staples of our society, and they don't seem to make the connection that it's a ghost or that it's something paranormal, something extraordinary that's happening. So we are going to very easily show you, just using a couple of what do you call it, references, that Cupid is a real person, but he is also a real ghost. And that is what we're going to be talking about this week. But before we get into that, Rob, do you have anything that you want to talk about before we talk about Cupid?
Um, you know, I think we could clarify some things that we may have been talking about online. There was the big um, State of the Union addressed by Billy Baldwin, um, who really delivered a performance of President Donald Trump that night.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Solid
story,
Donald.
yeah, very solid Donald impersonation. Um, I would consider giving Billy an award if it wasn't for such an atrocious reason or cause. So obviously that cancels that out outright. But I think the real story is about the women of the night that showed that they are not afraid of the president. I think when we're posting on social media and we're saying that they're dressed in white for ghosts, that may be misconstrued, that we might be trying to tear them down or to criticize them. But actually, I think what they did was really brave, is to show the Billy and the Congress that they know that there's ghosts and that they're not afraid and they're going to show up to confront this head on. So I really respected that.
Absolutely. This was just like last year's Grammys, where all of the women wore white in solidarity to kind of prove that they are going to stand up to the ghosts in the music industry. It's the same thing, except this is for the women in Congress who know that Billy Baldwin is working in a haunted White House. And so they showed up all in white to kind of bring light to the fact that, yes, this is not normal, that he lives in a haunted house, and that they are going to wear this together, this color, to kind of give themselves back a little bit more power, so that they can fight back the ghosts. Because truly, these women are doing work for us that paranormal experts are only capable of doing. So we can give them honorary degrees, all of them. They are Ghost in the Scene alumni, because the stuff that they are doing, this is on the world stage. It's not just, for a few people to see. This is the entire world saw them wear white. So a big commendation. We hope that they continue with this trend and more people are wearing white for ghosts. And like we said, we used to be very anti-ghost, right? I mean, we've talked about this for a couple weeks now, but we're not anti-ghost. We are anti-bad ghost, right? Anti-evil ghost. And so when they wear white and we say they wear white for ghosts, you know, there has to be a little more of a context there. So the context is they wore it to stand up to Billy Bush. And for that, we thank them. And just on the merits of the speech, Billy Bush could not get an award. He did not make it for the Oscars, but maybe next year, because it really was a solid Trump. I would say more solid than his brother Steven. And we can talk about Steven a little bit later because he is obviously still out there and still working on the Celebrity Big Brother angle, and he's doing all kinds of stuff to gum up the works. But yeah, shout out to all the women in the Congress. Shout out to Nancy Pelosi for her clap. There was a ghost right in front of her, and she just clapped it and gave it the weird eye, and bada bing, bada boom, it's gone. So, I mean, if that's not a paranormal expert, I don't know who is.
Yeah, and all this talk too, it's like I think this this new territory that we're getting in of good ghosts versus bad ghosts, because there's also other people out there that are dressing up as bad ghosts they think they're trying to scare people. Like they're dressing up like these old guys that come from the Civil War era, like trying to replicate these Confederate soldiers who have died. So they're dressing up with ghosts with pointy hats that we're seeing that's surfacing as well, which is causing a lot of, with that comes with a lot of trauma to bring up such evil ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
we see that, this kind of work is still at play. So it's like, there is a difference. There's a way to approach ghosts that is a friendly way to approach ghosts and to summon ghosts perhaps of, women of the past, the suffragette movement. If you read the news, that's what they call it, because they can't just outright and say ghosts, even though we all know there's ghosts, to save face, because, we have to admit it, we live in a world where people just don't accept ghosts. So they also say suffrage. They don't, what they really should say is the ghosts of the suffragist movement. Mm-hmm. That's what the white is for. But, we're living in 2019, so they're going to just say the suffragette movement. But we know, but we know the truth. We know the truth.
Yeah, we know, guys. If you guys listen to us, you understand that they're talking about ghosts for the most part. In every news report, there is a ghost hiding somewhere, and you just have to find it. So let's get into this. Is a very charged topic, right? I got a bone to pick with Cupid for a lot of reasons. He has used his bow and arrow, and almost like a sniper, like the American sniper Chris Kyle, he has ruined the lives of millions of people. By that movie was incredibly charged with ghosts. I don't want to get into that, or Clint Eastwood, the idea of somebody who's made so many movies turning around and then making movies. It just baffles me. It just makes me so angry. But we have Cupid as a major leading role in countless movies. And that's the first kind of step that I wanted to take into tearing him down. Because this creature, whatever being that Cupid is, has been accepted into Hollywood with open arms since the beginning of Hollywood, right? Since they opened up their doors, he has been in every movie that they asked him to be in. He never says no. Like he never takes a day off. And so I just wanted to talk about some movies that he was in that he played a role, and it was a detrimental role, right? He did something out of malice, not out of love, not out of caring. This is a god that is drunk on his own power, that probably isn't even a god, might be a demon himself. So let's get into Cupid a little bit. The movies that I'm talking about, if you want to follow along, because I know you guys are active online, go on IMDb and just look up Cupid movies, and you will see there is a exhaustive list of over like 40 movies where Cupid is the lead role. So the one that I wanted to draw your attention to first, because we're just coming off of investigating Gwyneth Paltrow and her company Goop, the paranormal company, is a movie called Emma. And uh, Rob, if you know anything about Emma, the first thing we should talk about is that it came out in 1996.
I mean, that's no surprise at all. I mean, as we were talking before, this is a very charged year. So it's no surprise to me that Cupid's right in the middle of it as well. As always, as he always is, because he knows when the most opportune times to strike are.
Exactly. So it's starring Gwyneth Paltrow, based on a book by Jane Austen, which is a dead woman. She's a ghost, right? So
Mhm.
based on a book by a ghost, and it's about a matchmaker, aka Cupid, aka Gwyneth Paltrow. That's her character, and she goes around with her bow and arrow, and she, makes people fall in love. And in doing so, she falls in love herself. So she gets stung by her own arrow. So friendly
Wow.
fire, very much like Chris Kyle, the American Sniper. Surprisingly, I didn't think there was going to be an analogy so perfect, but it's exactly like the movie. And Bradley Cooper actually played that role, and he's of course in the movie. He was a dead man in that movie and a dead man in A Star Is Born.
Wow. So yeah, nothing's by coincidence. And you see these same actors again and again. You said this is a Miramax film. That means this is Harvey Weinstein's little baby project. One of the grand sorcerers that are out there, that are known out there to cause all sorts of harm. Produces this film. It's Emma. So look at the numbers. I mean, when you look at it, it's a palindrome kind of word, right? It's Emma, E-M-M-A. You add up those letters together, E-M-M-A, 36, 666. So there it is.
Wow. 36 is 6 times 6, right? And then there's a 6 right there. That is 666 to the
Right. I
T.
mean, it's saying it to you. It's 336, 3 sixes.
Wow. And like you said, Miramax and Weinstein, this guy created hell on earth in Hollywood for so many people, so many women, and we are so glad that he is in the hands of the justice system right now, and he is hopefully going to get everything he deserves, because the amount of paranormal activity that he let on his sets of every movie that he was involved in, it just shocks me. And Emma was is nothing different about that movie. And he let the spirit of Cupid possess the poor body and soul of Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, I don't know if that's a reason why she is so adamant about her anti psychic vampire stance now. And I don't know if that's a benefit from that, like her, having to go through something so traumatic does something to people, and it could either make them a stronger person, or it could, break them down and demoralize them. I believe that Gwyneth kind of went the other way, that she saw what was capable in Hollywood, all of the horrors, and she kind of turned that frown upside down and, made a paranormal company so where she could combat that. And so we can't thank any of that behavior from Harvey, but we could say that at least Gwyneth Paltrow came out of it a stronger person, right? We can't say that about everybody, but it's when you turn to the paranormal and you finally kind of come to grips with the fact that yes, there are ghosts and there are demons affecting everything, then I think that you have a kind of a come to God moment, and you're able to kind of reassess your life and move on from there. And that's what Goop did. That's what she did for herself. But we can't forgive her for portraying Cupid in a movie. So sorry, but not sorry. You fucked up.
I mean, what I think we should also make clear as well, I think we have a responsibility to our audiences to say, any Goop product, I think we mentioned this before, but please take it to your paranormal advisor. Take it to an expert to check before you put it on, because sometimes they mix up the bottles. This is a big enterprise. Gwyneth got off the ground. Even if she had best intentions at the start, I think that I've just heard reports that not everything ends up the way that it needs to be. And you think you might be getting vampire repellent, but it's actually vampire attractant by mistake. They switched up the bottle, so you don't want to mix that up at all. So please, take anything before you use it to your paranormal advisor. Mark is still around. He's still taking house calls, so he might show up to your house. He's making the rounds right now. He's knocking on doors, so he might knock on your door. So just put everything in a pile, and he'll look through it and tell you what's good.
He's been doing a lot of training with German Shepherds, smelling dogs. So his nose has gotten incredibly sharp. So he can smell ghosts from miles away. So as soon as he gets in your house, he'll sniff that pile and he'll sniff out the ghost, kind of like one of those truffle smelling pigs. He just has a snout that can just smell out any kind of ghost, any kind of haunting or poltergeist. So a shout out to Mark, and of course, if you want to get at him, just email us or throw a Twitter, some kind of tweet at us, and we'll get him over. But real quick, this all kind of reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about before we get into Cupid, because it's something that really is only relevant for right now, but it really does make a lot of sense. So here we go. 21 Savage, the so-called American, has been deported to London, England. Now, if you guys don't know who 21 Savage is, he's a rapper. He was known for being very like slow and kind of like methodical in his rapping. He's not fast, but he's like a monotone kind of dude. And he has all of this what do you call it? Like this advice. He's like a money advice guy online. He goes and he tells everybody how to spend their money, how to, how to save their money, blah blah blah, right? And his name is Savage, 21 Savage. 2 + 1, 3, right? I mean, that's half of 6. So, and then we got Savage, right? It's kind of a brutal word, but let's move on. So he gets deported.
It's the English version of Sauvage, which is Johnny Depp's fragrance, his vampire attractant.
Exactly. And where does Johnny Depp hang out? In Europe, right? He's a European kind of jet setter. He goes there all over the place. And so where do they send 21 Savage? Of course they send him to England. So he's in the UK right now.
Right. I mean, I think our government just saw the Savage, thought the Sauvage made the connection, but they don't realize those are different languages to begin with. Mm-hmm. And they don't even understand where France is, so they sent him to England instead, thinking oh, it's the English version, so he must be the UK. To me, that's what their whole case is really based off of, is that he has Savage in his name. But the more you look into this, it's actually very interesting to see, because he obviously claims that he's from Atlanta, Georgia, was raised in the six, as they call it. And the more you dig into it, it almost seems like he could almost be from both places at the same time.
Exactly. The quantum rapper. And not only that, but we have the very spiritually and film-wise charged city of Atlanta, Georgia, right? Where, I mean, it's basically the Hollywood of that area of the South.
That's what they call it.
And he's allegedly from there, so that means that he's not he could have chosen anywhere to be from, right? But he chose somewhere called the Six, right? 21. So RE3, that's half of 6. He chose to live somewhere called the Six. And then Savage, I mean, he had to have known that,
or he was quantum leaped to the Six. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is this something that was he was chosen, or was he just born into this situation, Gio?
It's possible. It's possible that he was unknowingly placed there. I could believe that, absolutely.
I
And
mean, he was placed there mostly because of the energies that come from the place itself.
right. And it's also somewhere where he could play to people that are already used to sorcery, right? Because if you're from Atlanta, you probably see like UFOs in the sky and all kinds of stuff all the time just from all their filming. I know I do in Los Angeles. I mean, there's UFOs like every other night here. But it's that kind of stuff that where you perform for those kind of people, they tend to like you more if you have more of a magical flow. And that's what 21 Savage has. And so now that he's in London, you have to call him 21 Salvage, right? Because, like you said, it's different dialects, but you have to respect that once you go over to the other end of the pond, you have to change the way you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm more afraid of is it feels like we are sending a sorcerer into the arms of Johnny Depp. You know, it's like we had him in America. He was working, he was helping out Americans with their finances, right? He had a whole YouTube thing where he was showing people how to spend and save their money. Obviously, this guy was a paranormal expert because he had worked within the Hollywood of the South. So we're building up this guy, right? 21 Savage is becoming so powerful, and our government decides to send him into the arms of Johnny Depp. You know, and of course he's going to see that Salvage 21 Salvage is now in London, and he's going to go hit him up and go say hi because Paris is like a hop, skip, and a jump away, for Johnny. So I just wanted to put everyone on notice that we have done something very stupid. We've let go of a primetime like warlock that was possibly going to save a lot of people money, and we have given him to a psychic vampire, aka Johnny Depp. So shame on us, and shame on the ICE immigration for doing that to him. And hopefully he gets back to America soon, and he can continue helping me with my finances, because I'm only halfway through my taxes, and I was really hoping that he could help me with that. But since he's in London, I just can't get him on the phone. So 21, if you're listening, I don't know what to fill in for my gross income. I'm not sure what that is. So please help me out. I need help
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. Look, we hit us up on WhatsApp. I think that might have been part of the problems. You have the different carriers. It just makes things so much more complicated. Don't want to be paying those long distance miles. So again, direct messages are best. 21, we hope to get you back here soon. So we'll just hang on. We got the street team on the case.
That's right. And so hopefully you're back in America soon. And shout out to Johnny. Please keep 21 safe. Don't hurt him, and don't turn him into a vampire. But we won't be able to know that until he comes back and we test his blood. So let's move on, because we have Cupid to talk about. He is still on his way. It is not the 14th yet, but by the time you guys are listening, it very well could be. So we got to keep you guys informed. I wanted to mention that Cupid has been around, for as long as we've been around for, right? He's a god, he's as old as time. And we discovered him. And we weren't the only civilization to discover him. Different civilizations over time have found him and found the things that he was capable of. So one of the things he's capable of course, is getting people to fall in love. And one society found it to be a negative thing. A lot of people think that love is so good. It's so great. You fall in love and it's such a grand thing. The Christians didn't think so, right? The Christians thought that, in fact, love is bad. And they deemed him, this guy named Theodulf of Orleans, called Cupid. He is the demon of fornication. And if that's not a Ghost in the Scene alumni, I don't know who is, because he just went out and said it, and he had the balls to just straight up say he's a demon of fornication. So, shout out to Theodulf of Orleans, but
I mean, a
it makes a lot of
bishop,
sense.
so someone with the authority, someone who really knows, like, with the authority to say what is a demon. Like, when you know he says demon, he means it.
Yeah, and priests, they all know about fornication.
Mm-hmm.
Since we all know about what's been going on in the Catholic Church, those guys have been fucking for centuries under the guise of pretending to be virgins. So they
Did
know all about.
Theodulf cross paths with Cupid? Is that how he's getting his source information from? Like, how would he know?
That's exactly. So that's why I'm saying this is a Ghost Unseen alumni. This is somebody that had come into contact with ghosts and had seen it happen in front of his very own eyes.
Maybe had sex with ghosts himself.
I mean, here's the thing that I didn't want to talk about, but I guess I'll say it. I had a relationship where I thought I was in deep love, right? And I thought it was all good, it was all great, and it turns out it was Cupid, and his stupid arrow was right in my ass the whole time. I never checked my ass, but there was an arrow sticking right in there from Cupid. And as soon as I pulled it out, the relationship just fell apart. It was completely over. And I didn't realize that I was under Cupid's spell the whole time. And here's where I draw the analogy. Yeah, I think that Theodulf of Orleans definitely had Cupid's arrow somewhere lodged, maybe not in his ass, but maybe, in the tip of his penis or something. Something got bit from him. Okay. And in fact, it's interesting because there's an old allegory, an old story about Cupid and bees, right? Cupid and the bees, it's almost synonymous. Cupid, the sting of his arrow, right, is kind of like a bee. So Theodulf gets stung by a bee, falls in love, probably fucks like a dolphin or some kind of weird animal, right? And then from there, he takes out the little pin from his penis, and then boom, he realizes, oh my God, I've just been seduced by the demon of fornication, right? Just like I did. Hundreds of years later, I was seduced by a demon of fornication. I just, I didn't realize it. And so this is why you guys have to go after this episode, or maybe even while you're listening, please check your body for little pins. Pull out anything you find. Okay, even if it's not Cupid's arrow, if it's just like a metal pin in your body, just pull it out if it's not surgically placed there by a doctor. Because if you're walking and you have metal pins and Cupid's arrows all in you, it hurts to sit, it hurts to stand, and sometimes you won't even realize that there's something in your ass unless you check. So just check your ass tonight, guys. And that's a doctor's orders. So we have some more movies that I wanted to talk about where Cupid plays an active role. And here is one where we can really draw a 2019 arrow to the past, right? We have a movie that came out 19 years ago, right?
Ooh.
19 years ago. It's called What Women Want, starring Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt. This is also on the list of the Cupid movies, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but let's just kind of quickly go over the plot. Mel Gibson is a player advertisement dude. He gets a new boss who is a woman, and he's an incredible misogynist. So he doesn't respect her at all. And one day he is trying on all of these products, and like an idiot, he like plugs in a hairdresser or hair dryer and then goes outside when it's raining. and gets struck by a bolt of lightning, right? And it straight up like almost kills him or something, but then he wakes up and he can hear what women are thinking in their heads, right? In his head. And he kind of uses it to seduce people and manipulate people and get a better position in his job and ruin the career of his boss. And then the whole time he falls in love with her and is listening to her thoughts. It is a truly like terrifying movie. I honestly don't know how people wrote this movie and thought it was a good idea, but I think it can only be that this was a documentary. This couldn't be something that somebody wrote, because if somebody wrote this, it would be too incredible to believe. This has to be real, because it just doesn't make any sense why anybody would make this. So this is a true story about a man who was cursed with a demon, possibly, and this is our conceit, that it was Cupid, that Cupid struck Mel Gibson and gave him the ability to hear women's voices so that he could use, their desire as kind of like his way to get into their heads. So this is a movie that's being remade this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called What Men Want. So Cupid already hit all the women's minds. So now he's switching over to the different track of men. And I mean, the next obvious step, because we are in a progressive society, it's going to be what they want, right? And that's going to be the next movie, probably in a couple more years, which is going to be great. But then that's going to be the third movie. So as much as I want to be progressive, I am very fearful for that third movie, because it is going to be the most spiritually charged.
It could be also called What We Want, to be inclusive of just everyone on the face of the earth.
Interesting. What We Want. And what we want is a celebration of love without any ghosts that are going to hamper us. And like we said, we can celebrate the love of ghosts that are good ghosts. But what we can't do is celebrate a ghost that forces love upon people. That's kind of the major problem with Cupid, right? That Cupid is literally a ghost that comes into your life and attacks you with a bow and arrow. That's assault, guys. That is manslaughter. If he hits you in the neck, in the head, a vital organ, I'm lucky enough that I got hit in my ass, and he's a good shot. He usually aims for the genitals, because he knows that's where you're least likely to check. Most people don't even see their genitals throughout their whole lives. I'm not really sure what that's about. I haven't seen parts of me. Absolutely, I just don't look at myself. But it's because of this that he has the advantage of attacking you. You don't know. You think it's a bee. You think it's like a little bug bite or something, and you don't check. And he ruins your life, and you don't know why. You don't know why you feel this way. A lot of the teenage experience can be attributed to things that Cupid is doing behind the scenes. And these kids are they're suffering through love and desire, and they don't know why. And it's just because that Cupid has entered their lives and is ruined them. And so we just got to be on call. We got to be aware that this is a very dangerous. And here's one thing I wanted to mention. This is something that Emma, the movie, had predicted, right? In 1996. They said, as a tagline for Emma, it said, Cupid is armed and dangerous. So, I mean, this is something that even Harvey Weinstein and his company was aware of. Somebody as evil and as powerful as Harvey Weinstein was still had fear of Cupid, right? They're still making movies to homage Cupid. And Cupid was still able to enter the soul of Gwyneth Paltrow for that movie. And so it's still happening, guys. It is legitimately, it is still happening to this day, They're making movies about Cupid. I wasn't going to mention this, but Hitch, the movie Hitch with Will Smith. I saw on IMDb that in fact they have scored it now with it is Hitch 1, Roman numeral 1, which means that there will be a sequel to Hitch coming up in the near future. So, yeah, Cupid's still getting roles. It's not like he was popular for a little while and he's done. No. He is continuing to make movies. He's still in Hollywood, probably in Atlanta, probably all over the world right now. So,
and that's what I wanted to get to after that as well, is the fact that you say he's all over the world. Because I believe truly he is, because I think Cupid has made a leap, ahead of most of the paranormal track, right? Ahead of all of us. Cupid is obviously a visionary, and Cupid is online. We all know the service OkCupid. Obviously, that is a company made for Cupid. It's Cupid Online. That's what it is. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's the first free internet site. So this is obvious internet dating site. So obviously, this is Cupid's fingerprints all over it. It has grown into, and we know where it is today. So you can think just about every service that you use, any dating service, any that's out there, that is all generated from Cupid.
Exactly. Tinder, Grindr, Friendster, Matchster, eHarmony, they all are, fruits off of the branch of OkCupid. And yeah, you're right. Cupid is in the internet. He's a visionary. He hopped on and started matching people up on the internet before it was even popular, before there was apps,
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite shocking that we didn't bring this up before, but yeah, literally it's Cupid is in the title of the website. And people have apps. Think about like Tinder and Grindr. They're all kind of more separate, right? It's kind of like they focus on the desire aspect, the outcome of Cupid's arrow. But Cupid, OkCupid, he's the one that's matching you. It's not an algorithm, guys. It's funny when you listen to some reports on OkCupid, and they have data scientists go on, right? They have all these people. They're like, oh, we're the most researched and data friendly website for matchmaking, and we have a certain percentage of success, blah blah blah, right? They try to go all scientific. Guys, I'm here to tell you, it's all BS. It's Cupid that's doing the matchmaking. They literally have a deity doing all their work for them, and then they're just making up fake numbers and percentages so that they could, fake the media. But we know.
We're back here always crunching the numbers, sniffing out what's legitimate and what's not, and it's frankly just embarrassing how amateur this math is that they are presenting to us. It's so easily to break down. They don't go out there and tell the truth like we do, and crunching the numbers. We're here on a quantum level as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we're operating. So you can't get anything by us.
That's right. And the idea is, they're trying to fake out the public and think that, there's no paranormal activity, right? Because yeah, sure, there are some people that definitely don't believe in ghosts, but there are enough people that are skeptical that if they have a whiff of ghost, that they might not be totally honest in their profile. And that way Cupid doesn't get a total match, right? And so they don't use the website that much. But he is so savvy. And the thing about Cupid is that this is indicative of who he is just as a deity. If you go back into the Greek mythology of who Cupid is, like I said, Cupid is known to be a friend of bees. He's just like a bee. So, the Bee movie, Jerry Seinfeld knows Cupid very well. And then we have the story of Cupid and dolphins. And Cupid would surf dolphins back in, the Greek mythology days. So this is somebody who surfs waves. like the basis of his personality. He is a wave surfer. And what is the internet but not the next wave, right? He is surfing the web, the World Wide Web. And so this is just another way of him to surf. And I feel like if we were to let him continue doing this, he probably would be able to match every single person in the world, right? But
Mhm.
we have to kind of ask, what is it for, right? Why does he match people up? What is the outcome that he wants? Is it that he wants power couples to appear? You know, the idea of a power couple, two forces joining together. If every if every force was stronger together with two, imagine if the entire world, 7-9 billion people, all had a counterpart and they joined forces. Imagine the amount of power that we could have from that. I'm not sure if
I mean, it's just simple math too, right? When you think about it, with two people, it's like it's not multiplying. It's actually you're taking the square of those people, so it's a much larger number. So think about to the billionth power. Oh my goodness,
the desire and love that he is generating.
to
And
the 9 billionth, right?
exactly. And we all crave it and we all love it. That's the thing. He knows that the human nature kind of derives pleasure from desire and from love. So he's using that like we're addicts. And frankly, we can't get rid of him. He is a pest. He is a ghost pest that we're going to have to deal with for the rest of our lives. But the fact that we have to know what he is. We have to call him out for what he is, and just say that if you're gonna hit me, I'm gonna hit back. Next time I get stung by Cupid's arrow, I'm gonna find a bow and arrow, and I'm gonna aim to the skies, and I'm gonna start shooting indiscriminately, because I know he's out there, and at some point he has to be taken down for what he's done. He's gotten too many people too far down into love. And I mean, it's just like what women want. If he is able to give the power of telepathy to people like Mel Gibson, how do you think his moral code actually really is? Like if he gave it to Mel Gibson, people, if you guys don't know how fucked up Mel Gibson is as a person, then I'm not going to get into it here. It's not paranormal. He's just an asshole. And he gave him telepathy. He let him into the minds of every woman in the world. Why? You know? Why Mel? I don't get it. Mel's a terrible person to choose. He should have been Jamie Foxx or something. So anyway, um that's Cupid. This is his month and we're just living in it. But this is our guide for you to survive this month. And we hope that you learn something.
I mean, and most importantly, we're bringing this up because we're going to be fighting Cupid very soon in the box office, not just in what Min won, where he's kind of playing more of a behind the scenes sort of role, to a much more direct attack where Justin Bieber, one of the most powerful power couples, Cupid has linked up him and Haley Baldwin recently. So obviously the power is there. So this is obviously this is couples written all over it.
Mm-hmm.
This is Cupid written all over it because it's a movie about Cupid, where our dear friend Justin Baldwin.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think he may have kept his own last name, but I think we might be able to call him Justin Baldwin.
Yeah.
He's a Baldwin now. Is stepping in as the role of Cupid in his newest role. So I'd watch out for Justin Bieber as well. To take on the powers of a deity is a big responsibility, and the powers that the Baldwins have right now. I don't know if this is isolated to just this one film. We might see a whole Cupid universe out of this.
Exactly. And so just keep your eyes out for that. And of course, Stephen Baldwin is not far behind Justin Baldwin and Haley. And so we have three people who know what they're doing, and they are working with a deity that obviously knows what he's doing. Of course. So guys, please be careful. this is a month. It is very easy to fall in love and not know why you're in love. And I'm here to say it, that one of the reasons might be that you're haunted and possessed by a demon. So please be careful with that. And I guess until next time, stay in the scene.
Keep your eyes on the screen, people. You know, you're being inundated with ghost messages every day. You know, they're easy to find out though now. The ghosts are more prevalent than ever. They're hiding in plain sight. So if it looks like a ghost, if it walks like a ghost, smells like a ghost, it's a ghost, people. Don't be frightened. You know, step up. You know, call out the ghosts when you see them. They're not more powerful than you. As long as we're here together, we're in the scene. We got the street team out there. You know, we're going to make it through. And I am very glad to be doing so with all of you.
That's right. And it doesn't take a deity to strike us to say that we love our fans. Okay? It doesn't take a demon to attack us with a bow and arrow to say that we have love for you guys. Okay? That's non-influenced. We just straight up love you guys. So stay in the scene, take care, and of course, we'll see you guys next week.